Unit 10. Build up.
を発達させる、増やす。
Reading is a great way to build up your knowledge. Pass up.
機会などを見送る、みすみす逃す。
We can't pass up a chance like this. Pick up.
費用などを払う、負担する。
In the end, taxpayers will have to pick up the bill. Come by.
お手に入れる、
Tickets for her concerts are hard to come by. Point to.
を指摘する、に言及する。
She pointed to the fact that online advertising continues to grow. Sink in.
言葉などが理解される。
Her eyes widened as the meaning of his words sank in. Drum up.
事業などを拡大する、促進する。
The new CEO drummed up business by changing the sales process. Trip over.
につまずく、
I tripped over the curb and fell down on my face. Drag out.
を長引かせる。
They dragged out the negotiations for as long as possible. Let down.
人を失望させる。
The team lost 3 matches in a row and let the fans down. Mark out.
を区切る。
A cycle lane is marked out on the road. Paper over.
問題などを隠す。
We can't solve the problem by papering it over.
Leaf through.
本などを素早くめくる。
The man leafed through the book to find the picture. Nail down.
を取り決める、確実にする。
After long negotiations, they nailed down the agreement. Shove around.
人をこき使う。
He's always shoving me around and finding my faults. Take to.
を好きになる。
I took to him when I first saw him. Float around.
噂などが広まる。
Bad rumors are floating around about the politician. Draw on.
を活用する。
In his novels, he draws on his life experiences as an actor. Deal out.
を分配する。
Relief supplies were dealt out to the sufferers. Firm up.
を固める。
We still have to firm up some details. Descend on.
に集団で押しかける、詰めかける。
Thousands of fans descended on the city to watch the final. Claw back.
を苦労して取り戻す。
The company is making plans to claw back customers. Eke out.
生計を何とか立てる。
He is eking out a living by doing several part-time jobs. Pipe down.
静かにする。
The teacher told the students to pipe down during the ceremony.
Carve up.
領土、会社などを分割する。
The territory was once carved up by the European powers. Perk up.
を元気づける。
The song will certainly perk them up. Phase out.
を段階的になくす。
The company has been phasing out its overseas businesses. Follow through.
やり遂げる。
We managed to follow through with all our promises. Belt out.
を力強く歌う、演奏する。
The singer was belting out his old hits on stage. Box up.
を箱に入れる。
I boxed up old magazines and put them in the closet. Crouch down.
かがむ。
She crouched down and spoke to the boy. Gain on.
に接近する、迫る。
He began to gain on the front runner. Trim down.
を削減する。
We must trim down the unnecessary expenditures. Scratch out.
を線を引いて消す。
The mistakes were scratched out and corrected. Mark up.
を値上げする。価格を上げる。
The company marked up all their products. Keep after.
人にしつこく言う。
My wife keeps after me to go on a diet.
Dash off.
を急いで書く。
I dashed off a message to him. Fade in.
映像、音が次第にはっきりする。フェードインする。
When this function is on, each song fades in at the start. Barge into.
にずかずか入り込む。
He barged into my room without knocking. Strike off.
を切り離す。
He threatened to strike off my head. Draw in.
人を引き込む。
This film drew me in from the first scene. Knuckle under.
屈服する。
They wouldn't knuckle under to any threats. At large.
一般の、全体の。
The government should serve the interests of society at large. Take out.
保険などに加入する。融資などを受ける。
She took out a 30-year mortgage. Settle on.
に決める。
I haven't settled on a gift for him yet. Suck up.
手伝う。
He's always sucking up to his boss to get a pay raise. Hold out for.
を要求して粘る。
We offered him a 3-year contract, but he held out for 5 years. Chase up.
を調査する。探す。
I chased up my order and found it was out of stock.
Stand in.
代理を務める。
I have to stand in for her while she is on vacation. Vouch for.
を保証する、受け合う。
I can vouch for the accuracy of the information. Run off with.
人と駆け落ちする
My wife left me and ran off with another man. Get down to.
に取り掛かる
He decided to get down to learning French. Smooth down.
を平らにする、滑らかにする。
I smoothed down the surface with sandpaper and then painted it. Choke back.
涙、怒りなどを抑える
She looked up as she choked back tears. Dabble in.
にちょっと手を出す。
He dabbled in piano but gave up after a few months. Flip out.
激怒する
My father flipped out when I told him that I quit school. Lop off.
を切り落とす、
You need to lop off dead branches. Burn out.
燃え尽きる、
The fire burned out before firefighters arrived. Hike up.
服などを引き上げる、
He hiked up his shirt and showed a scar on his stomach. Nose around.
嗅ぎ回る、
The police started nosing around about the incident.
Fan out.
軍隊、警察などが散開する、人が散らばる、
The police fanned out across the city in search of the suspect. Hold up.
良い状態のまま持続する、持つ
The country's economy is holding up very well. Puzzle over.
について熟考する、
I've been puzzling over the problem for more than a week. Branch out.
事業などを拡大する、手を広げる、
The company branched out into online sales. Beat up.
人を打ちのめす
The robber beat him up and took his bag. Laden with.
を積んだ、負った、
Passengers laden with luggage are standing in line at the taxi stand. Chip off.
を削り取る、剥がし取る、
I have to chip off the old paint first. Get in on.
活動などに加わる、
Many companies are trying to get in on that market. Put in for.
を申請する、
I'm going to put in for the scholarship. Trip up.
人を謝らせる、
There was a question to trip you up in the exam. Bottom out.
価格、景気などが底を打つ、
The economy will bottom out early next year. Spruce up.
を小綺麗にする、
He spruced himself up for the ceremony.
Bottle up.
感情を抑える、隠す、
She tends to bottle up her emotions. Reckon on.
を期待する、当てにする、
I don't reckon on their help at all. Wallow in.
快楽などに溺れる、
He was very rich and wallowed in luxury at that time. Jot down.
を書き留める、
I jotted down her email address so we could keep in touch. Get away with.
悪いことをして無事に逃れる、
The boy thinks he can get away with being lazy. Wring out.
を絞る、
He wrung the wet shirt out by hand. Turn to.
に頼る、
He turned to alcohol to relieve stress. Polish off.
食べ物などを素早く平らげる、
They polished off 3 bottles of wine. Walk out on.
人、仕事などを捨てる、放棄する、
He suddenly walked out on both his family and his job. Put forward.
を提案する、提起する、
I'd like to put forward some ideas for further discussion. Shake up.
を動揺させる、
The news shook up the sports world. Snuff out.
を力ずくで消す、弾圧する、
The government tried to snuff out the democratic protest.
Drop off.
を届ける、置いてくる、
I dropped the papers off at City Hall. Rein in.
を抑制する、
Every airline struggles to rein in fuel spending. Pick on.
をいじめる、
I hate him because he's always picking on me. Skirt around.
を避ける、回避する、
We skirted around the downtown area. Coop up.
を閉じ込める、
After being cooped up in a car for hours, the kids were really bored. Shove off.
立ち去る、
She told me to shove off for a while. Meet out.
罰などを与える、
A severe punishment was meted out to the organizer of the crime. Fall into.
ある区分に入る、分けられる、
Music falls into 2 categories, good and bad. Stir up.
感情をかきたてる、
The issue stirred up nationalist feelings among the people. Ferret out.
を突き止める、探し出す、
The country is eager to ferret out terrorists. Stick around.
もう少し長くとどまる、
Let's stick around and see what happens next. Shoot down.
をこき下ろす、
The professor shot down the student's idea.
Tear down.
建物などを取り壊す、
The building was torn down and is now a parking lot. Fall back on.
に頼る、を支えとする、
Most of the homeless have no family to fall back on. Snap up.
を見つけたらすぐに買う、
You should snap up that limited edition while it's available. Hit the roof.
激怒する
He hit the roof when his daughter told him she would get married. Put off.
の気持ちを萎えさせる、やる気をなくさせる、
Insufficient parking can put off shoppers. Stand out.
際立つ、目立つ、
All the guys were good looking, but one stood out from the rest. Pull the plug on.
から手を引く、
The company pulled the plug on the unprofitable business. In no way.
決して何々でない、
We are in no way responsible for the content. Take in.
を見に行く、見物する、
We took a walk down the beach, taking in the beautiful sunset. Rest assured that.
何々だと安心している、
You can rest assured that your secrets are safe. Strike down.
放棄などを無効とする、破棄する、
The court struck down the law, saying it violated freedom of speech. Saddle A with B.
A に B を負わせる、
Japan is saddled with huge budget deficits.
Sleep on it.
一晩考える、
I'll sleep on it before making a decision. A shred of.
わずかの
There is not a shred of evidence to back up his claim. Flip through.
をパラパラめくる、
I flipped through the catalog, but nothing caught my eye. Hold off.
遅らせる、先延ばしにする、
You can buy one now or hold off until an update is released. Hold back.
ためらう、思いとどまる、
I wanted to tell him I loved him, but I held back, afraid of being rejected. Mess up.
を台無しにする、
The stupid ending messed up the whole movie. Cut back.
を削減する、縮小する、
She proposed that the company cut back staff. Pass down.
知識などを伝える、
This story has been passed down from generation to generation in our town. Walk out.
ストライキをする、仕事を辞める、
They walked out in protest against a pay cut. Know nothing.
何一つない
I have no job, no friends, no nothing. Follow up.
の追跡調査をする、
The police promised to follow up the case. Blow up.
カンカンに起こる、癇癪を起こす、
My father often blows up at me for no reason.
Add up to.
合計何々になる、
The total costs added up to over 3 million yen. Pass over.
人を昇進などから外す、
He was passed over for a promotion, though he deserved one. Back down.
引き下がる、撤回する、
She backed down in the end and admitted her defeat. Lay down.
規則などを設定する、定める、
At the camp, we let the children lay down their own rules. Single out.
を選び出す、
She was singled out for promotion. Lag behind.
に遅れを取る、
The country lags behind its neighboring countries in the field of technology. Chip in.
金を出し合う、
They all chipped in to help her pay for her surgery. Put down.
手付金などを支払う、
I put down a $10,000 deposit on the house. Pull through.
命を取り留める、
It is a miracle that the patient pulled through. Abide by.
規則などに従う、を守る、
If you fail to abide by the law, you will be punished. Identify with.
に共感する、と一体感を持つ、
Sports fans identify with their team and favorite players. Hold over.
を持ち越す、先送りにする、
The final decision was held over until April.
Sound off.
不満などをまくし立てる、
Several members sounded off on the decision. Butt in.
口を挟む、
Sorry to butt in, but I have a question. Stick up for.
他人が支持しないものを支持する、擁護する、
I'll stick up for you no matter what happens. Poke around.
探し回る、
I don't want anyone poking around in my private affairs. Win over.
を説得して味方に引き入れる、
I tried to win him over to my way of thinking. Narrow down.
範囲などを絞る、狭める、
I'm looking for a new car and have narrowed down the choices to 3. Fall flat.
失敗する、
The movie was pretty interesting, but the ending fell flat. Measure up to.
水準などに達する、
This novel doesn't measure up to his previous works. Launch into.
を突然始める、
He launched into a detailed description of his theory. Step down.
辞職する、退任する、
He announced that he will step down as CEO next month. Interfere with.
に干渉する、の邪魔をする、
A microwave can interfere with a wireless LAN. Mark down.
を値下げする、
Everything in the shop was marked down to half price.
Wind down.
徐々に終わる、
The war finally began to wind down. Distract A from B.
A の気を B からそらす。
She tried to distract him from his studies. Adhere to.
規則などを忠実に守る。
We will have less accidents if we adhere to traffic rules. Whip up.
食事などを手早く用意する。
He whipped up breakfast for me. Butter up.
におべっかを使う。
It's no use trying to butter me up. Spin off.
を副産物として生み出す。
This anime spun off 2 additional series. Own up to.
を白状する、認める。
The athlete owned up to using steroids. Spring up.
突然生じる。
New hotels are springing up in Tokyo. Skim off.
一番良いものを自分のものにする。せしめる。
Big companies skim off the best students. Simmer down.
気が静まる。落ち着く。
He got mad but simmered down after a while. Mess with.
をいじる。に触る。
The program will run automatically, so you don't have to mess with the settings. Embark on.
を始める。
Before embarking on a career in journalism, he worked as a diplomat. Data file. Charitable.
寛大な、寛容な。
Manageable.
扱いやすい、従順な。
Memorable.
記憶に残る、忘れがたい。
Movable.
動かせる、移動できる。
Profitable.
利益になる、儲かる。
Questionable.
疑わしい、疑問の余地がある。
Countless.
数えきれない、無数の。
Flightless.
飛べない、
Hapless.
不運な。
Harmless.
無害の、害のない。
Jobless.
仕事のない、失業中の。
Merciless.
無慈悲な、
Pointless.
無意味な、要領を得ない。
Restless.
落ち着かない、
Worthless.
価値のない、役に立たない。
Broaden.
を広げる、
Fatten.
を太らせる。
Frighten.
を怖がらせる。
Heighten.
を高める。
Lengthen.
を長くする。
Lessen.
を減少させる。
Liken.
を何々になぞらえる。
Shorten.
を短くする、短縮する。
Sicken.
を病気にする。
Strengthen.
を強くする、強化する。
Threaten.
を脅す、脅かす。
Weaken.
を弱くする、弱める。
Doubtful.
疑わしい、不確かな。
Faithful.
忠実な、誠実な。
Harmful.
有害な、危険な。
Mindful.
気を配る、
Painful.
痛い、苦痛を与える。
Rightful.
合法的な、
Thoughtful.
考え込んだ、物思いにふけった。
Truthful.
正直な、真実の。
Wrongful.
不当な、不正な。
Interviewee.
インタビューされる人、面接を受ける人。
Nominee.
推薦された人、候補者。
Refugee.
難民、避難者。
Codify.
を成文化する、
Crucify.
を虐待する。
Dignify.
を厳かにする。
Intensify.
を強める、強烈にする。
Purify.
を生成する、純化する。
Simplify.
を単純化する。
Solidify.
を固める、結束させる。
Testify.
を証言する。